Alright, let's just get right into it. The Jazz just traded Bojan Bogdanovic to the Pistons for Saben Lee and Kelly Olynyk. My first reaction to the trade was that's all they had to give up? Because Bojan Bogdanovic is not no superstar player or all-star level player, but I was expecting the Pistons had to give up at least a first-round pick or maybe a first and a second to get him. All they had to do was give up 2 end-of-the-rotation players to get him. Now, Kelly Olynyk and Saben Lee are both solid rotational players in the NBA, but they just don't make sense for this Jazz team that are going to be tanking this year. Not to mention, both of them are not expiring contracts. The Jazz will have to keep them for, I believe, 2 seasons. So it doesn't make sense. You just can't flip them at the trade deadline for something because no one really wants Kelly Olynyk or Saben Lee. So you're forced to keep 2 players that don't necessarily fit your timeline and that you don't really see, or I don't see, as players that can be part of your team going forward. Not to mention, you got 0 draft compensation for a solid player in Bojan Bogdanovic, who can be a solid to good contributor almost a lot of teams in this league. For the Jazz side, this is a huge L. I understand he was going to get traded anyway, but the fact that you got 2 players that don't really make sense for your team and you didn't get no draft compensation, I got to give this an L for the Jazz. Now for the Pistons, this is a good move for the Pistons. You get a good player in return for 2 end-of-your-rotation players, and you don't have to give up any future draft compensation. Now you can have a starting lineup of Cade at the 1, Ivy at the 2, at the 3 you can have Sadiq, at the 4 you can have Bojan, at the 5 you can have Stewart or Duren. Now I believe Duren can start at the 5 right out the gate, but if Stewart starts and then Duren just takes the starting job later. But Bojan's a good fit. He's a knockdown 3-point shooter, so he'll give more spacing to let Cade and Ivy get to the rim. And that rim pressure that Cade and Ivy will be creating will give Bojan a lot of more open looks around the perimeter. Now the Pistons have 2 good spot-up shooters in Sadiq and Bojan. And you have 2 guys who are great with the ball in their hands that can create opportunities for themselves in Cade and Ivy. Now it just all depends on what type of league Stewart makes and how good Duren is right out the gate. But this is a very solid starting 5. Also, I meant to say this earlier, but shout out to the GM of the Pistons, Troy Weaver. He's done a great job getting a lot of talent in there and getting the pieces that fit. And he's built the Pistons from a team that's always been terrible to now a team that actually has a chance to maybe make a play-in game. Now, I believe this move makes the Pistons a threat to make the play-in game. I don't want to say the playoffs because you need a very big jump from Cade, which is not out the realm of possibilities, but realistically, I don't see that happening this year, maybe next year. The Pistons had a lot of good young talent on this team already, but now after making this trade, you had a veteran that can contribute right away and provide some leadership. Plus the good coaching that the Pistons have with Dwayne Casey, I think the Pistons will be a really solid team this year and can possibly make a play-in game. I appreciate you watching the video. If you could like the video and subscribe, I'd gladly appreciate it. I'll see you on the next one. More content on the way.